what are the pitfalls that future entrepreneurs should try to avoid when they start their business, when they want to bring their idea to life?
Um, well, I'm trying to think of one. I mean, feel really good about what you're doing. If you have reservations, you know, you might want to not do the project. I've certainly done things that I felt not 100% about, and and then did them anyway, and
Hmm.
wasn't super happy with the results. And remember, you have to be prepared to live with the like people again. It takes a long time just to get to launch, and then it takes more time to raise money, and then maybe not as much time as it used to, but it still takes time. And then it's also very rare that you get that great exit right away. I mean, we were lucky with Weblogs Inc. and AOL, where it was 18 months from when we launched Engadget to when we
Hmm.
sold to AOL. That's very, very rare. You have to you have to be able to sort of prepare yourself to be with something for a long time. I'm trying to think when I started. I mean, I did weblogging for almost 4.5 years before I left. You have to be, if you're not prepared to dedicate like 3 to 5 years of your life on something, it's probably not worth doing. And I think that that's the hardest part. When I say it's hard to start, it's hard to be ready to commit to something like that.
Hmm.
But you have to make sure that you feel good about it, and not that again that your idea is perfect, but that you feel like passionate about enough about what the area is that, or what the problem you're trying to solve is, that you can work on it for a long time. And I think that's really, is my advice is, when I talk to people about, starting a blog, for example, I say,
Hmm.
don't pick a blog that you think is going to be popular or successful. Pick a topic that you know, feel like you can get up every single day and write about every day, and that 3 years from now, you're not going to be sick to death of the subject matter. And look at me, like I still love gadgets, right? I love gadgets like as much as more than ever in a lot of ways. And I think that so it's easy for me, even though I'm not doing another blog, to be able to say, okay, if I'm going to do like a Q&A and a user site, I'm going to make it about gadgets because that's what I love.
Yeah.
And I think that you get people who sort of get cynical and are like, well, like I'll do a site. I see people who do gadget sites, for example, that aren't really that interested in gadgets, but they just think it's a good way to make money. And those sites almost never do well, because you can tell when somebody isn't passionate about that subject matter. And so whatever the problem you're trying to solve is, like, make sure you're really passionate about that problem.
Hmm.
Like, for me, it was, I felt like I'd kind of created a problem with all these gadget blogs, where it was like so much news and like so much going on. It was like a little overwhelming, and it was like, how do I just have like one great interaction around a gadget? Like, okay, like Engadget and Gizmodo are great if I want to read lots of news about gadgets, and I
Hmm.
do, and I read every post on Engadget every single day. Um, but I think, for most people, they might not, or a lot of people, it's more like, which phone should I buy? How can I have a great experience around that? And that was sort of the problem I wanted to solve was,
Yeah.
how can we, make it so that you get more out of your gadgets? How to make gadget how do we make owning and buying gadgets a better experience?
Hmm.
And to me, the answer to that question is, and has always been, you know, get people involved, make it a social thing, make it something that you get to interact with this amazing community
Yeah.
that I know is out there. I mean, I've met tons of those people, and with the millions of people who've read Engadget and Gizmodo and stuff like that and use Gadget, it's like, to me, it's the answer to the question is other people, so to speak.
Yeah. So it's in a certain way kind of perfect fit, especially for you. You're merging your passion with some unmet needs or stuff that you pointed that were not yet present on the web in this case, and you just combine both to create your new venture, your new project.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always the thing is you have to kind of ask yourself, like, what am I doing to make the world a better place in some way? And I don't mean in some, like, obviously, we should all be better humanitarians, but I mean literally, is the product or service that you're trying to offer, is it something that actually solves some issue for people, helps
Mm-hmm.
people in some ways? Does it make their lives better? I mean, going back to Gizmodo, there was no site where you could go and just read gadget news. And I was like, well, that's the problem I'm going to solve, right? I'm going to help people find their gadget news. And turns out a lot of people had that problem.
Which is a good point for
Which
you.
is good, which is great problem. I'm glad people had that problem. And so I think that it helps to kind of look at your own life and think about the things that you want. When I think about, I have like a lot of ideas for companies I want to do in the future, and they're all companies that I think about that are about problems that either I have or that I know people close to me have. And I'm not going to say it just because it's, I'm not going to probably do any of them anytime soon, but it's like that to me is like the thing that you have to avoid as an entrepreneur, is doing something for the wrong reasons or for cynical reasons. Because to be honest, like I was saying, you're not going to get it right the first time. And then when you have to pivot or change or iterate, if you're not really passionate about that general problem or that general subject area, you're going to be miserable, because all of a sudden you're going to be a year, 18 months in, and you're going to be doing something you didn't want to be doing, and you're going to be stuck because you have investors or because you've already invested a lot of your own time and money, and you're going to be really unhappy. So I would, I would really try to dig in and think about what those things are.